The other two water conditioners don't touch the water at all, they don't have any chemical effect, so they can be called physical conditioners. They change the calcium bicarbonate to aragonite, and that just stays in the water. It seems that somehow the magnetic fields or electrical fields have an effect on the calcium bicarbonate and trigger aragonite formation, but I don't think it's understood how it happens. Magnetic treatments should be the best of all because magnetism doesn't wear out. You should be able to fit the magnets to run the water pipe, and that should last the lifetime of the house. Some of them you actually physically clamp around the pipe. This no nonsense one, you fit in line, the water goes through that, and here's a lift, rather similar, like that. And this one, you drop the magnets which are inside here, drop this into your toilet cistern, and that is supposed to treat the water in your system. There are different claims for how long the effect lasts. So some suppliers say it lasts for a matter of hours, maybe 17 hours. So it's only suitable for the point of use. Perhaps if you've got a cold water tank in the loft, you have one just as the water goes into the tank. Some of these are claimed to be for the whole house, so you'd fit it on the incoming cold water mains. And there's one which also claims to remove existing scale. This is a line scale gone, and these are the pictures that they use on their website to illustrate how it works. Inside an electric kettle, before and 4 weeks later, and apparently you can look at the photos and see the effect of the line scale dissolving away. Well, to be honest, looking at these photos, you could swap them around, and I couldn't tell the difference. So I'm really not convinced by this particular piece of evidence. Magnetic treatments are used widely in industry, but I haven't yet seen any evidence for their effectiveness at the domestic scale. I don't know if they work as well on the small scale, but I would like to see something which just shows me, it convinces me that they actually do something at home. All the electronic ones are powered by electricity. Typically they have a pair of wires which you coil around the incoming pipe. There might be a stop valve there, and you have two coils of wire which you advise you can do yourself. They're usually awfully shy of showing also the power cable, but that will plug in to a little transformer which you plug into a socket. They apparently work by emitting a range of frequencies in the electrical field which goes through the pipe, the metal, copper or plastic, and treat the water as it passes through. I've worked out at 12 litres a minute, which is typical sort of household flow through the mains, 15 mil pipe. It'll travel 1.3 meters in a second, so it will go like this, and this represents the descaler. So 1, 2, that's the speed. 1, 2, so it's pretty fast. As usual, the evidence for the effectiveness of these devices is very poor, but ScaleWatcher do have a research paper on their website. It's dated 1992, so it's quite old now, and the results are in imperial measurements, so I've converted them to metric. And what they did was they took a hot water cylinder like we have in our airing cupboard, they filled it with cold water, heated it up to 60 degrees, which is the standard hot water temperature at home, emptied it, refilled it, heated it again, and so on. And in 2 months, they got through 173,000 litres of water. Well, that's a fair-sized swimming pool, and just imagine heating a local swimming pool up to 60 degrees and then just pulling the plug. Well, they did get one of the main results in 2 weeks, which was that the initial scale on the heating elements reduced from 0.5 mil down to 0.25 mil. And the rest of the experiment, they took the ScaleWatcher away and the scale built up again, and they refitted the ScaleWatcher and the scale reduced once more. Are we supposed to be impressed by these results? The initial scale doesn't seem to be particularly thick, and the other interesting thing, of course, is that the reduced scale isn't gone completely. So I'd like to see some more research results to show how these electronics deal with thicker line scale and whether they can get rid of the scale completely. I'd like now to talk about some electronic descalers I've had personal experience with. I've got a Waltham electronic descaler myself. It's described in their advertising as the world's best electronic water descaler. That's why I bought it. I wanted the best just to see how these things worked. Well, after 6 months, which is, I mean, they're very good about giving guarantees, all of these descaling firms, so they'll say they'll give you your money back after 6 months. So mine showed no sign of removing the scale from the taps, the incrustations on the spout, or my shower head. So they sent me their more powerful one, and that didn't seem to have any effect either, just the same. It looks great fun. I mean, the lights zip up and down. But I've heard from Scale Watcher that these electronics can partially work even though the lights seem to be working as they should do. This is the undersink electric water heater of one of my customers. It's got an element inside that heats the water up to use at the kitchen tap. She had a Scale Watcher fixed to the pipe bringing in cold mains water into her flat. But when I looked at the bottom of the hot water heater, I found all this lime scale at the bottom. There's quite a lot there. That's 3 years worth. So Scale Watcher sent her a more powerful electronic, and I had a look at that. After 6 months, I found all this lime scale. So this one doesn't seem to be working either. They offered her a refund. And yet, commercial sized Scale Watchers are fitted to the hot water heating systems in St Paul's Cathedral, Gherkin in London, for instance. I don't suppose the architect of the Gherkin, Lord Foster, is going to fit something which he doesn't think is working. So I wonder if there's something about domestic situation which makes these things difficult to work. I'd like to see some more investigation. Finally, two mixed treatments. There's the Calcombi, which is electrolytic and magnetic, and the Cracker, which is electrolytic and electronic. And the manufacturers say that these treatments augment each other. The government issues regulations which must be followed when you're building a new house or building an extension, making alterations and so on, and the hard water treatments are discussed in this guide, Domestic Building Services Compliance Guide. This is the latest one, 2013. What it says is where the water hardness exceeds 200 parts per million, provision should be made to treat the mains water to water heaters and combis to reduce the rate of accumulation of lime scale and not stop it forming altogether. So already there's a bit of a conflict between the regulation and some of the manufacturers' claims. And on the same page, in the supplementary information, there's a reference to the devices that can be used to control the lime scale, not prevent its formation. And this is their list. Lime scale can be controlled by the use of water softeners, polyphosphate dosing, and electrolytic scale reducers. No reference at all to electronic, magnetic scale reducers or the partial water softeners. So it seems to me there's a real need for a proper investigation into these devices to tell us how effective they are and what they actually do.